Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com. His new Beastie merch has dropped, and we will be giving away a Beastie shirt tonight. So all you gotta do is enter is push hashtag Beastie in the chat. That gets you automatically entered to win that Beastie Claw t-shirt, and you can enter up to 1 million times. So hopefully we got it all sorted out tonight, and everything goes smooth. But speaking of Beastie, let's welcome him, Beastie to the Combs. Beastie to the Combs to the show. What's going on, Combsy?
What is going on, Michael to the Buckheister? It is good to see you, man. Look, hockey is back. Hockey is back. I'm pumped. There's no baseball tonight. There's no playoffs. So I get to watch the Blackhawks home opener in Colorado. Or not home opener, season opener in Colorado tonight after the show. So I'm pumped, man. Hockey's back. Baseball's in full swing.
Yes, sir.
Football is crazy. We've got lots of crazy things going on. But before we get to all that, what's going on? Man Hour Nation, what is going on to all our people? 313 The Flash, Belly Up Sports, all our people listening in the UK across the pond. What is up?
Yeah, a beautiful night here for some sports talk, guys. This will be the last show of the week because me and Combs have some family obligations to take care of. Combs is coaching Little League basketball to a championship, so big shout out to him. Win that championship, Combsy. There you go. Mountain Greenwood basketball. Shout out. And then I am going trick-or-treating, so Halloween is our favorite time of year in the Buckheiser household, so we got to go all out. We're going to trick-or-treat at least 5 times the next 2 weeks. Super excited about that.
Yeah. But that's a lot of candy.
You know what, Combs? I got 2 boys and I got a wife. I probably won't get any of that. Let's just be honest.
I might just show up at your house just to get a box of candy and then head back.
That's totally fine, man. You are always welcome to stop by and get some candy. So speaking of 5 times, the Cowboys have won 4 times and hopefully 5 times going into next week. But guys, right now the Dallas Cowboys, they've scored 171 points so far this season, Combs. 170 points. Wrap your head around that. That is the most they've done since 2007. The rushing game is on point. They have a top 5 defense. They have one of the best offenses in the league as well. There are only 2 games, Combs, where they are not favored for the rest of the season, and that one against is New Orleans Saints, and the other one is against Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to ask you this question. We've seen the Cowboys flutter through the end, and we've seen them succeed, and now we're seeing them succeed a lot. Will the Cowboys finish 14-3 this season, Combs?
Man, that's a tough one because they don't have a light schedule, but they don't have an excessively hard schedule though either. You still get to play the NFC East most of the year. You get to play the Washington football team, which is in disarray. You got feds swarming them. They're sending pictures of cheerleaders to John Gruden and stuff. So they got all sorts of problems of their own. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles that have no identity, and the New York Giants who, just are destined to stay in New Jersey forever. But they don't have an excessively hard schedule. I think that they're going to beat the Patriots this weekend. I think that they'll beat the Minnesota Vikings next week. Then they got the Broncos, Falcons. They do get a tough task in the Chiefs, and then the Raiders, and then the Saints. You're playing 3 pretty good teams right there. And you do still have the Cardinals on the schedule. So those are the rest of your out-of-division opponents. I would say, if I had to take a guess, I had them originally on the season. I had them at 13-5, winning the division, and I'm gonna stick there. I'm sorry, 13-4. I'm gonna stick there. I'm gonna stick with 13-4, and that's where I'm gonna say they wind up. I think they lose to the Chiefs. They lose to the Saints in New Orleans, and they lose to the Cardinals. Those would be their 3 more losses.
Yeah, so when they said they are only not favored in 2 more games, and that's being the Chiefs and the Saints, first things first, are people overlooking the Cardinals? I mean, that is absolutely crazy on that. That's absolutely stupid. And then
the Cardinals' game is in Dallas.
Right, but still, they're freaking 5-0.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And they're scoring at a really good clip. They're averaging 30 points a game. Their defense is absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, I think people are overlooking the Cardinals. I think you overlooked the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure you called them trash last week.
I did, and I still believe that. No, I didn't call them trash. I call them overrated because I still think they're going to be a 9-win team. I mean, so I think they're going to win 4 more games the rest of the season.
5-0.
You know who else started really, really hot last year, Combs, and then kind of fell off?
They're not the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. So, I mean, it is definitely a possibility that it can happen. But looking at the Dallas Cowboys schedule moving forward here, they have 2 very tough games on the road. The Patriots, they are a tough team. Whether you guys want to admit it or not, Bill Belichick somehow, some way, always dials up something to really lock down, their team. However, he does have problem against mobile quarterbacks. Now, Combs, would you consider Dak a mobile quarterback?
I would. I would consider him a mobile quarterback. I would not consider him a running quarterback. I
Right.
would consider him mobile, though.
So in hindsight, we are saying that Bill Belichick might have problem formatting a game plan against the Dallas Cowboys here. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that the Patriots are going to win this game because it is at Foxborough. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings on a primetime game. This is the Sunday night game, Halloween night. Weird things happen on primetime games. Kirk Cousins forgets to show up 9 times out of 10, right? So
weird things happen on Halloween night, too.
Yeah, exactly. So it would not surprise me if they dropped this game at Minnesota on Halloween night to the Vikings. So right there are 2 more losses on the season. So there's your 3. And then looking forward, you do play the Chiefs at Arrowhead. The Chiefs should hopefully be back in primetime form by this point. You do play the Saints on a primetime game at New Orleans. And then look at this schedule here. They're at Washington, at New York, and then they're back at home versus Washington and then the Cardinals. Combs, if they go 2-2 in that stretch, it'll be really surprising. Two, will me just because. First of all, 2 division games back-to-back on the road, that is tough, especially in December when people will be because let's just be honest. Like at this point, Washington and Giants are probably going to be spoiler alert. They want to spoil anybody they can, and who else better to spoil? The Dallas Cowboys. So I see 7 losses on the schedule, Combs, too. We'll be honest. So 10,
you have them at 10-7.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, probably 11-6, but 10-7 is not out of the realm either. Just because of, I mean, they play 4 out of 5 road games at the last 2 weeks of November into December. That is tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, they go to New England, they go to Minnesota back-to-back weeks. It's always tough when you're traveling. Especially when you're going coast to coast. And I mean, I know Dallas isn't on the coast, but it's close enough. And you're traveling all the way to the East Coast. Then you're traveling all the way from south to north to get Minnesota. And then you got the Broncos at home and the Falcons at home. You're better than both of those teams. You're better than the Vikings. You're going to beat the Vikings. They're going to beat the Patriots. The Chiefs, man. Where are the Chiefs when it comes down to that game in Week 9?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are the Chiefs doing at that point? Are they on a roll and they're just rolling? Because if that's where they're at, which is where I expect them to be, they're going to beat Dallas. It's going to be a good game, but they're going to beat Dallas in that game. Then, they're better than the Raiders. I can see them losing to the Saints in New Orleans. they're better than Washington. They're better than the Giants. They'll beat Washington twice. They'll beat the Giants once. They'll probably lose to the Cardinals, and then they'll beat. Well, it depends on where they sit in the playoffs as to whether or not they'll lose to Philly in the final week of the season.
Exactly.
If they're just resting players, they might lose that final game of the season. So I could see them possibly with 5 losses. But I think realistically, you're looking at 4 or 5 at the most. I don't know about 7.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm saying 7 just because it always seems like the Cowboys show up for the big games, the Buccaneers, the Chargers, right? But then you have a team like the Giants, and they might struggle against the Giants. Yes, I know they flexed on them on Monday night game, or was that Sunday night game or Monday night game? I can't remember. But I mean, like, obviously they like flexed on them. So when you flex on a team once and then you go into their house thinking you're going to flex on them again.
That was a Thursday night game, wasn't it?
Well, was it a Thursday night game? Well, yeah, it was a primetime game. Either way, it's always hard to play a division opponent on the road, especially late in the season. That's why I'm giving them 2 losses in those 3 weeks there, because when they play Washington, Giants, and then Washington, I mean that's pretty tough there too. We'll be honest. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, look, if they went 10-7, I'd be okay with it. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't care for the Cowboys, so I'm okay if they go 10-7. It would surprise me though. They're a good team. I expect them to have a deep run in the playoffs. They're a good team. I don't want them to win, but I think they're good enough to win.
Yeah, well, also on the flip side of that coin, Mr. Torrey Anderson at @manhour_Torrey had the Washington football team going 13-4. So if they can get their cards right, those might be 2 must wins for the Washington team to make it into the playoffs, or to even get those 11 wins or so. So I mean, we could definitely see some good games down the stretch here. But one of the biggest turnarounds for the Cowboys was from week 1 to week 2. Week 1, Combs, they threw the ball almost 90% of the time. I think Zeke touched the ball like 10 times week 1 versus the Buccaneers. Dak threw the ball for 60+ times. Since then, Combs, they have been a 60-40 pass run team. This is definitely not Mike McCarthy's MO whatsoever, at all. So will the Cowboys continue to do this? And if they do, can they continue to win games?
Yeah, and they will. It really just depends on the type of games they get into, though. Look, they've had some leads here late. They haven't really been, tested very much. I mean, they beat the Giants 44-20. They beat the Panthers 36-28. They beat Philly 41-21. They were tested in week 2. They beat the Chargers 2017. That's a very good Chargers team. They hung with the Buccaneers in week 1. They only lost that game by 2 points. But they just haven't been tested as of late. So that's probably a big reason for their, the disparaging, increment between pass and run. And I think that if they continue to score and if they continue to have leads heading into the second half, you're going to continue to see that. However, if teams start testing them, if teams start hanging with them, if teams start scoring on them, if that defense starts to falter in any way, that's going to change dramatically. So it really just depends on the type of games that they get into.
Yeah, and also on the flip side of that coin, I'm like that phrase. Let's make a T-shirt out of it. Flip side of the coin merch coming soon. But the Cowboys have found a 1-2 punch as well with Zeke and Pollard. I mean, they found Pollard late in the season last year, and that's kind of right where they want to be, is a 1-2 punch, because Zeke is getting older. Yeah. Let's just be honest. A running back's life expectancy is 27 years old. So all you haters out there that said Todd Gurley's not old, he's 27. He is old. He's ancient in football years. So
Did you just say he's Asian in football years?
Ancient, like
ancient.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Asian. I was like, what does that even mean?
So Zeke
John
is getting
Gruden.
older, and he wants to take some time off, right?
Right.
That is perfect time for Pollard to get in there as a 1-2 punch, and I think Mike McCarthy is starting to see that, and that is how the Cowboys can win more than 10 games this season. Yes, I have them going 10-7 currently as hindsight sits, but if they continue this 1-2 punch with Zeke and Pollard and then only throwing in Zach when they need it and CeeDee Lamb keeps going off and like Amari Cooper can perform like he does at home on the road, the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team. The problem is that they don't always do that. Mike McCarthy reverts back to his throwing the ball 80 times a game, and that's when the Dallas Cowboys start to struggle because that defense doesn't have time to rest, and that defense has been a very Achilles heel of this team in recent years, and right now it's very, very strong. They're a top 5 defense, Combs.
Do you really think that the Cowboys can be a Super Bowl team, though, in this NFC? I mean, with the Rams, the Cardinals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Green Bay Packers, I think all those teams right now are ahead of them. I think all those teams would beat them head to head. You really feel like the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah,
legitimate Super Bowl contender?
Right now, going into week 6 of the NFL season, I would put the Cowboys in Super Bowl in front of all of those teams because the way of that defense is performing.
In front of all of those teams?
In front of all of those teams. Better than the Bucks, better than the 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals, Packers. I would take the Dallas Cowboys over them right here, right now, because of how that defense is performing. When your defense performs very, very high level and gets the amount of takeaways that they're getting right now, you can take chances on the offensive side of the ball. You can throw it deep, 2, 3, 4 plays in a row to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and not be afraid to throw that interception because your defense can stop them the next series.
They're giving up 24 points a game. The Cardinals are only giving up 17.
But still, it is the amount of takeover or takeaways that they are getting. I believe they are number 1 in the NFL with all takeaways. And when you add possessions like the way the Dallas Cowboys are doing right now, that opens up your playbook tremendously, Combs.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I like it. I like the boldness. I mean, it's kind of what you do. 11-6 Detroit Lions, but
11-7.
I don't see. I don't see them. I would not pick them over Tampa Bay for sure. I don't trust Dak more than I trust Tom Brady. I don't.
So the Tampa Bay offense is better than the Dallas Cowboys offense right now. Yes, I will give you that.
Are they better?
100%.
Are they better than the Cowboys defense right now?
Because
they don't have to beat the Cowboys offense; they have to beat the Cowboys defense.
Right. So I think that the Tampa Bay offense and the Dallas defense will kind of cancel each other out. The advantage is the Dallas offense versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Their defense right now seems to be struggling just because they're not playing a too high safety like they used to do. How they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, play a too high safety and make them teams nickel and dime them down the field. They are not doing that right now.
And I mean,
when they showing.
But when they played week 1, I mean, yes, granted, I'll give you that because Dallas put up 29 on them.
They were also 100% healthy too, though.
But to say that the offense will cancel each other off, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up 31.
Yeah, that was like I said, that was also when the Tampa Bay defense was 100% healthy. Since then, I believe the guy that I'm going to mess that guy's name up, but is the corner for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He broke his arm or did something to his shoulder.
Yeah.
That game, and then a couple weeks later, the backup got hurt as well. That's why they signed Richard Sherman to that team because that secondary is so decimated right now. That is why I would take the Cowboys offense over the defense or the Buccaneers defense.
Okay. What about the Rams?
See, and I always forget that the Rams are in the NFC. I mean, I don't know why, but I feel like many people are sleeping on the Rams, and obviously I'm sleeping on the Rams too because I totally blew them off, right? But I think that offense is crashing back down to reality a little bit here. And
you do?
Yeah. And we're seeing the true quarterback that Matthew Stafford is, and that's just an average quarterback.
They scored 34, 27, 34, 20, and 26.
Okay, that is totally fine. But that 26 points when you're used to averaging 30 and the defense isn't playing that great, that's going to hurt you.
They won 26-17.
Once again, I would take the Cowboys defense over the Rams offense,
Huh.
and the
That's
Cowboys
interesting. I mean,
offense. Yeah.
It's a good argument. I mean, I like the argument. We could have it all day long.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
I'm not ready to call them the best in the NFC just yet. You know, I have to see more from them. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe I do pick them to get into the Super Bowl. But right now, I think I would probably have them as probably the fourth best team in the NFC.
Okay, so you put me on the spot if I had the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl or not, since you only have them fourth best. Who are the three teams better than the Cowboys right now in the NFC?
That's easy. I mean, it's the Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. So you don't think that the Bucs defense is a hamper to them right now?
I don't. I think that the Bucs defense is, you know, they're kind of. I want to say they're. You know how you talk about your Kansas City Chiefs and how they're a late blooming defense.
Yeah.
That's how the Tampa Bay Bucs were last year. But I mean, you look at their last two games, and granted, they were against the Patriots and the Dolphins, but they only allowed 17 points each in those games.
Right.
And even, you know, the week before that, they did lose to the Rams pretty good. So, you know, I see what you're saying, but they haven't. That was the only aberration in their schedule where they allowed, you know, the 30 points in a game. They haven't allowed 30 points in a game all season other than that one game. So I would say the Tampa Bay defense. I like Tampa Bay's defense right now more than I like Dallas's defense right now. I definitely like Arizona's defense more than I like Dallas's defense. I like Arizona's offense more than I like Dallas's defense too. And that's the big key, is because that's who goes up against one another. Right. I would take Arizona's defense or offense to torch Dallas's defense in a game head to head right now. Same thing with Tampa Bay's offense versus Dallas's defense. Same thing with the Rams offense versus Dallas's defense. I think they have to get into a shootout with them, and then once you start getting into a shootout, I trust every single one of those quarterbacks more than I trust Dak Prescott right now. Yes.
Really? Oh,
Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, and Kyler Murray, I trust more than Dak Prescott right now.
I would take
and
Tom
I like Dak
Brady.
Prescott. I'm a Dak Prescott guy. But
Wow.
I think Matt Stafford's clicking on all cylinders right now. He loves being in L.A. He's performing very well. They're scoring a ton of points.
Sean McVay's wife must be keeping him very happy, right?
She might be keeping a lot of people very happy with the way that offense is performing.
But hey, did you forget though? Let's say the Cowboys
I'm moving to LA.
Let's say the Cowboys and the Cardinals were to play head to head right now. The Cardinals are missing 3 or 4 guys on defense this week because of COVID, and a main one is Chandler Jones. So when that Cardinals defense doesn't have Chandler Jones like in the mix, they might be a totally different defense.
Yeah, they might be, but I mean, you know, I'm talking about these teams when they're at full strength.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, at full strength. And at full
yeah.
strength, I think the Arizona Cardinals have the best defense in football. I've said this since before the season, since before they were 5-0. I've been on this Cardinals train. You know, I picked them at 15-2 this season. I was on this Cardinals train from the beginning, from the signing of J.J. Watt.
You are 100% correct.
I'm not going to back off of it now because they are good. They are very good.
They are. I mean, 5-0 clearly probably gives you the best. The best team in the NFL. But we will find about that later. Actually, right after the break here, because Mr. Bus Wallace is coming up on the Manor, guys, with his Week 6 NFL Power Rankings. But Combs, looking at the Cardinals.
Again, ain't I?
What's that?
I'm going to yell at him again, ain't I?
Probably 100%. But looking at the Cardinals' schedule moving forward, this week they travel to Cleveland, so this is a true test for them. I mean, these next 5-6 weeks are a true test for the Cardinals. We'll see who they really are.
The Cardinals. I'm looking forward for the Cardinals' schedule. I think they're going to beat Cleveland, and then they've got an easy week after that against Houston. But then they get the Packers and 49ers. Packers are in Arizona and the 49ers are in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how they perform in those 2 weeks back to back against 2 very good teams.
Yeah, only time will tell. So NFL Week 6 is coming up very, very soon here. But, guys, we are up against a break. We are giving away a Beastie Claw T-shirt here in the chat here, guys. So give me a hashtag Beastie with a number of raffles you want to get. So hashtag
Can
Beastie
I win?
space. Yeah, anybody can win. It is open up to anybody.
I'm
You just
putting this
have
in
to
there.
be
I want one of my own shirts.
a subscriber. So hashtag BC space and the number of points that you have that you would like to raffle away. Get you a chance to win some free merch. But, guys, we are up against a break. Bus Wallace is coming up with his NFL Week 6 power rankings. And, of course, we got Nana in the chat. What's up, Nana? We'll be right back, guys, here on the Man Hour. That's a lie. My mom dropped me on the head. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhouse and Brandon Combs tonight. So if you guys are interested in winning some Beastie merch, head over to youtube.com/Man Hour. Use hashtag Beastie and space and the number of raffle tickets that you would like to give away. So we will be selecting a winner here in hour number 2, so stay tuned. It's about 9:15 time East Coast time, and we'll give a raffle. You simply click the link, and then bada bing, bada boom, you put in your address and other things.
Did my entry count?
No, because you cannot put all of them, Combs. You have to actually put
Why
a
can't I
number.
put all? I don't know how many points I have, so I just put all of them.
Push exclamation point and points, and you'll know exactly how many points you have.
Oh,
You are such a fucking noob, man.
so
So week 6 of the NFL season is on us, guys. Thursday Night Football is tomorrow, so that means it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
That means we welcome Bus Wallace to the show. Bus, what's up, man?
Hey, great to be with you guys. Love doing the power rankings every week.
Yeah, we love having you just because you give us some insights and you give us some controversy here. And
Yes, sir.
the first controversy that I want to draw up, we're bring up, man. Let me pull them up. Number 31, the Detroit Lions.
yeah.
Is that controversial?
Why are they not 32?
Well, okay, if you think about it, they've lost on 2 50-plus yard field
Who
goals to
cares?
Baltimore
They're dead to
and
me.
Minnesota.
Die, Lions, die.
That's the first team in NFL history to have 2 walk-off losses of 50-plus yard field goals, and one was almost 70, for gosh sakes. It was over 66-yarder there by Justin Tucker. So I think they've shown a bit more life than the Jacksonville Jaguars have.
Yeah.
Although, their coach has shown signs of life, but more in the bar, not so much on the sidelines.
So
Hey,
you are
yo.
criticizing him because he likes to go have fun? Man, that is
Uh,
rude, man.
I mean, I'm a family guy. I can't really get behind those kind of morals. The reach around, I didn't love that. His wife's at home with the grandkids. It's a tough look.
So what you're
Tough look.
saying is, since he has grandkids, he can't go have a good time. Got it.
No, I'm saying he's got a wife. He's got to be loyal to his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you are right. You just have to go to the zoo. You can look, but you can't touch.
Yeah, you got it.
Does his wife have to be loyal to him?
Yes, it's a
God.
two-way. Unless they have an understanding. I mean, consenting adults, right?
I need to find a wife like that.
Okay, first things first. First things first, okay, guys? This is the man hour, so we're going to dabble into this real quick.
No
I don't
doubt.
care if it's consensual or not, or you have an understanding. There's going to be one jealous party one way or the other. So, Combs, if you find that woman, she's going to be jealous, or you're going to be
No.
jealous.
I meant it because she had to be faithful to him. So I need to find a wife like that. I've never had a wife like that.
Okay. Yeah,
If you find her, hold on to her tight, man.
I have mine. I mean, so I'm hanging on to her tight as I can, even though sometimes
Good
she's
man.
a black eye. But whatever. Let's jump into the power rankings here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Man. So, I've been lacking on the Instagram, Twitter posts because I've gotten busy at work, and Project XX is kind of taking over the life right now. So, if you guys are a member, you know what's going on with the Project XX. We're giving Wallace, I'll give you a little insight as well over on break. But the biggest dropper this week was number 18, the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously they are not performing well for you for me at all. On Monday, I lost my shit. I fired everybody, even Andy Reid, and I hired the Houston coaches front office to come coach my defense.
Wow.
Why do you even have the Kansas City Chiefs in the top 20 still?
Wow. I had them a little higher, and I did some editing. I had to drop them closer to number 20. You have to give them some benefit of the doubt. Pat Mahomes is still a top quarterback. He's throwing a lot of interceptions right now. They're not all his fault. A lot of them are bouncing off his receivers' hands. This team's been to the Super Bowl the last 2 seasons. I do still think they'll figure it out eventually. However, that defense is looking like a sieve right now. They're just making too many mistakes. If it wasn't for their previous kind of reputation, they would be lower in these rankings, just because the performances have not been good at all.
Yeah. So one thing is, so I was looking at other people's power rankings, right? And let me throw out that 4-letter network, ESPN. They actually had Kansas City Chiefs moving up in the power rankings from 11 to number 10.
What is that?
How can they even be in the top 10 right now?
I don't know how you can justify that. I mean, this was a big game. It was a home game. The team they played in the AFC Championship game last year, and they were barely competitive. I mean, they scored to make it within 11, I think, late in the second half there. But then Gregory Rousseau made that great play with the tip and the interception, and they just got their doors blown off, walked off the field, and they just don't look anywhere close to that team that's been to the last couple Super Bowls. So I think that was a miss by ESPN for sure.
ESPN NFL Power Rankings week since has the Kansas City Chiefs at number 10, sitting at 2 and 3, moving up from number 11.
Did Chris Sims do their power ranking?
Chris Sims works for Fox or NBC, so probably
NBC Sports.
that little troll himself. I mean,
Chris
crap.
Sims is a clown.
Speaking of Chris Sims, we haven't had him in a chat for
power
a little while. Sheesh.
It's because I called him out.
Yeah. Bust. If you didn't realize, we had Chris Sims trolling us in the chat for like a little while. So
really,
it was. It probably wasn't the Chris Sims, but it was Chris Sims. But
It had his profile pic, so I'm gonna pretend like it was him.
Yeah,
why not?
And I called him a clown to his face.
Yeah. So guys, if you guys want to know the bottom 16 rankings, I'll post them tomorrow on our Twitter, man_hour_radio, and I'll be tagging Bus Wallace as well. But coming in at number 16, you had the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, disappointing performance against the Philadelphia Eagles there. This definitely seemed like a bounce back opportunity kind of game for them. They had a punt blocked, which really kind of change the momentum of this game. They're still 3-2. I still think they could have a successful season, and they certainly seem to be on the up and up. If you consider, they were 5-11 last year. This is Matt Rule's second season, so I still think there's some good things there. Sam Darnold is metamorphosizing into this running quarterback. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns already, which is kind of cool. But I think they're around where they belong. You could say there should be a little higher, a little lower, but to me, they're somewhere around the middle right now.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously CMC getting hurt again is, kind of big for them, and that takes away probably 3/4 of their offense. Just to be flat out honest about that. So coming in at number 15, you have them dropping in this week's power rankings, are the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, a little bit concerning with the Broncos right now. I mean, you got Bridgewater. He doesn't turn the ball over, but there's not a lot of explosive plays either. The defense has been pretty good, but they allowed Ben Roethlisberger to get back on track, and he has not looked sharp at all this season. So a couple of bad signs for them. If Drew Lock has to play any extended amount of time for this team, they're definitely in some trouble. I still think they could finish around 500 or so. But I don't think they're quite there just yet. And this is a really tough division that they play on.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really vocal about the Denver Broncos being not a very good 3-0 team, and but I also at this point, like I'm kind of defending them now because I start looking at them and I start looking at their schedule ahead, and I'm like, I could see them winning this week, I could see them winning next week, I could see them doing some good things. Bridgewater, yes, he doesn't turn the ball over. He threw the ball for almost 300 yards last week and threw for 2 touchdowns, and I think he did have 1 interception. Yeah, but he didn't have a bad stat line. They can't establish anything collectively at the same time. You know what I mean? So either the passing game is working during a drive and then that gets shut down, or the running game is working during a drive and the passing game isn't, and then that gets shut down. They can't put anything together collectively where they can just get a drive going where, they'll rush for 10 yards, throw for 4, rush for another 10, throw for 4, then throw a bomb downfield or something. They can't seem to get that rhythm going with their offense right now. Maybe it's just because they're not playing the New York Giants, New York Jets, and Jacksonville Jaguars anymore.
Yeah, they had a pretty cream puff beginning part of their schedule. They have a pretty good running back. They drafted, I believe, out of North Carolina, Javonte Williams. He's been able to rip off a few good runs, but I agree. A lot of cohesion on that unit so far.
I do think that they beat the Raiders this week, though.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be a very interesting game to watch. Obviously, the Raiders with their new coach. I actually am going to go the opposite way. I think it'll be a breath of fresh air with Gruden out. I think the players will respond. They looked really flat against the Bears this past week. I think they'll be energized actually by Gruden's departure, and I actually expect a good performance from them.
Interesting. So I think we need to get some cream puff merch. That I kind of like that that line. So coming in at number 14, nice. You had the Chicago Bears. They're moving up in your power rankings.
Ooh. Yeah, Combs, your team is on the rise. They've won a couple in a row. I was a little critical of Justin Fields, but I've liked what I've seen over the last couple of games.
Really?
They still have a good defense. And it's funny, almost all the teams I had in the top 10, most of them won. And then those next 7 or 8 teams, most of them lost. I feel weird about the Bears being number 14 because they really haven't been, their losses, they've looked pretty terrible. But they're a team that's coming off a couple wins. So I put them at 14. I don't know if they'll stay there. I don't know how good Fields is going to be. But they've got a bit of momentum.
Like a 64 right now.
Okay.
His passer rating is really low. I've been kind of disappointed in which they're using him, but they are getting back to Bears football. They're running the ball really well. They're playing good defense. They're not using the passing game like I thought that they would under Justin Fields, but I think having Justin Fields under center has actually, oddly enough, opened up stuff for the run game.
Yeah, he's a threat to take off. You got Montgomery back there. Trying to think of their other back.
Damian Williams,
which is a really nice pickup, the former Chief. So
and then they got Khalil Herbert, who looked really good last week in the absence of Montgomery, since he's going to be down for the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
All right. So then, and then coming in at number 13, you had the Cincinnati Bengals moving down.
Yeah, I just moved them down one spot. This is a game they definitely could have won, but they also almost lost it about 4 different times. Mason Crosby couldn't get it together on those field goals. They were going to move them apart through, so they were as wide as the whole end zone, I think, at one point. But pretty good performance by the Bengals. I think they hung in there with the Green Bay Packers. Joe Burrow, I think at this point in his career, we can say this guy's a franchise quarterback. I think the Bengals finally got it right. They got their guy. Dalton was a perfectly good draft pick for them. He led them to the playoffs, I think, 4 times. But I think they're looking for something a bit more. And I think eventually Burrow can be that guy to, I don't know if he can lead them to the promised land. This is the Bengals, but at least lead them to the playoffs a few times.
Well, you better not have the Green Bay Packers in your top 10 then, because they have. I've got an argument for you if you've got the Green Bay Packers much higher than the Cincinnati Bengals, because they did not want to win that game. They didn't want to win. They did everything they could to lose that game. Mason Crosby should have kicked his last kick ever after that game. I mean, it was just back and forth, miss kick. I got home from we had a basketball game, and I had gotten home right before, or no, I was helping my dad with the garage, actually. So I missed most of the game. I got home right when he missed his first one. I'm like, huh. And then they went back and forth, and the funniest thing to me was a Cincinnati kicker thinking he made it and celebrating like he won the game, and he missed it by like 5 feet.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a close kick. But,
well, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to kill them too much for their kicker having a really bad game. I still think the Packers are a good team. I don't want to
I would
spoil
kill
where
them for
I have
needing
them in.
a kicker to beat the Bengals.
Well, maybe the Bengals are a bit better than what we thought. I mean, they laid waste to the Steelers. I thought their defense looked really good in that game. Joe Mixon, you could make the argument he's a top 10 running back.
Facts.
Okay, but not much argument there. Okay, so I think they're a decent team. They're just not quite really there yet. Let's remember they're similar to Carolina coming off a 5-win season. So I think they're still figuring out how to win ball games.
Yeah.
So that's part of what went into my thought process there.
I mean, you could have moved them up since they lost just like a 4-letter network to the Chiefs, but we'll go ahead and move past that. Coming in at number 12, you do have the Las Vegas Raiders fresh off of losing their coach and moving down and the rankings.
Yeah, I know I could have moved them down a few more than just the couple spots that they fell. It definitely an uninspiring performance against the Bears. I thought this was a game they probably should have won. Derek Carr is also, the luster is starting to come a little bit off him as well. But I stick by what I said earlier. I think that this new coach coming in, it could have a bit of an energizing effect on these players. I think a lot of players probably liked playing for Gruden. I can't speak to that for sure. I wasn't in the locker room with them, but they almost seemed kind of taken aback, like they were thinking about it during the game against Chicago, because they didn't seem like they were thinking about football. They were just a step too slow. So I think it's a bounce back opportunity, and it needs to be if they want to stay near that top 10.
Well, but also on the flip side of that coin is every NFL team every year has that one game where they simply forget to show up. Historically, it's the Packers when they play the 49ers last like 5 years in a row. So maybe that was just the Raiders game. They didn't show up because, sometimes just the grind of the season gets to you, some off-field like issues like obviously, but I would be surprised if you have the Raiders in your top 20 come in 2 weeks, just because John Gruden is a good coach. I mean, people can say he rode the coattails of Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay to win that Super Bowl, etc. But he also signed a 10-year, $100 million reason for a reason. He's part owner for the Las Vegas Raiders for a reason, because he knows how to work the system. Hell, he hid big booty hoes on his email for 10 years, right? So he obviously knows what he's doing. But Raiders are at 12.
That's right.
And they're not last in the AFC West right now. So, I mean, definitely put them up there. Coming in at number 11, moving up in the rankings, the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this team out. It seems like they're very inconsistent. They have a good performance followed up by a shaky one. We saw a lot, some of what I love about Jameis Winston and some of what I don't love so much. A gnarly interception down the middle early in the game, but then a bomb throw I believe it's to Callaway later on in the game against the Washington football team. So I think they're doing enough. I think they're kind of like the Broncos. They're still trying to figure out what their identity is on offense. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I do think Taysom Hill needs to be part of that recipe. He does need to be at least an occasional ingredient as either a runner, receiver, or occasional quarterback as well. But I think they just need to figure out their identity, maybe win a couple games in a row, and they're going to find themselves rising into my top 10.
And see, Graham, I got into this argument on Facebook with somebody because somebody said the same thing. They're like, "Oh, it was a post where it said, Jameis Winston, welcome to Jameis Winston, where you throw an ugly interception and then you throw a 73-yard pass for a touchdown."
Right.
Well, my argument there is he was like, "Oh, he's not having a great season. He's having a Jameis Winston season. He's having a good season." I said, "Well, first of all, let's look at it like this then. You take Tom Brady's numbers next to Jameis Winston's number. And don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing Jameis Winston to Tom Brady.
I get it.
But Tom Brady has a 65% completion percentage. Jameis Winston has a 60% completion percentage. Tom Brady's touchdown to interception ratio is 15-2. Jameis Winston's is 12-3, and the biggest one is the quarterback rating, the passer rating. Their passer rating, Tom Brady's a 108.5 on the season. Jameis Winston's a 108.1.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize he only had 3 picks and that his rating was that high. The first time we were on this show together, I went off about the whole top 10 thing. I still don't agree with that, but he's definitely creeping towards that status. He's protecting the ball a bit more. He's showing leadership skills. Let's not forget that whole laser surgery too, right? It seems like he's seeing the field a bit better. So I think Saints are a good team and he's been a good quarterback. They just need to, like I said, win a few more games. Yeah.
People just put too much emphasis on the interceptions that year. They forget that he was one of only 8 people ever to throw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns that same season. And then you talk about the interceptions, and yet we had a guy like Brett Favre who made a Hall of Fame career out of it. And granted, he never threw 30 interceptions, but he had 2 years where he threw 28 or more. Right. And he had 3 seasons where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. And Jameis has never had that.
They have that gunslinger kind of mentality, and you're going to get some interceptions. You're going to also get some jump out of your seat plays. So I'm okay with that. And he's kind of proven himself to me big time this season. So I'm going to cool it on the Jameis
and that's
hate.
why I brought it to him, is because I knew he's a Patriots fan and he loves Tom Brady. So I said, well, let's compare him to a quarterback who you would call having a great season right now. Yep. Everybody's up in arms about Tom Brady, and then they're like, his comeback to me was, well, how many attempts has there been? Well, why does that matter? So if you're telling me that, because Tom Brady's had 100 more attempts than Jameis Winston, but okay, Tom Brady's had 100 more attempts, but he's only got 3 more touchdowns and 1 less interception. So if you ask me, I think with his passing and with his attempts, you could actually argue that Jameis Winston is more productive than Tom Brady has been this year.
The yards per attempt is likely higher. I haven't actually checked, to be honest. But
it is.
I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think part of the Saints' formula, a recipe for success, is him throwing 25 times or less. And that's not an insult to him. I think he's a guy who kind of would need a strong run game, a good performance by the defense. They need to win games as a team because they're not an overwhelmingly dominant roster.
And that's the other thing too, is they haven't had a very strong run game. Alvin Kamara's only got like 300 yards on the season.
Yeah, and I don't even know who their other running backs are.
Yeah, it's insane, and they haven't had a good running game, but they're 3-2. It's not like they're losing football games, and he's performing well. I think people, overlook him because of the fact that for whatever reason they like to laugh at him more than they like to praise him.
Well, yeah, there were some red flags with him coming out of Florida State as well, the crab legs, and I believe there was a sexual assault. But
let's be real, Graham. If you could have free crab legs, would you take some free crab legs right now?
Of course. I think part of it was the swag. He just walked in there, he's saying what's up to people, and then he's out the door. And did you guys see the surveillance video?
Yeah.
It was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Speaking of pretty smooth and 25 pass attempts a game, the Tennessee Titans move up in your power rankings, coming in at number 10.
Yeah, it's really a toss-up. Are they better than the Saints? I don't know, probably not, but they're in a division that they're almost for sure going to win, so I think that counts for something. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've been kind of feeding on less than strong schedule, with the exception being that comeback win against the Seahawks in week 2, which kind of really galvanized that team. They beat the Jaguars and they beat the Colts. So, they're probably going to win 9 or 10 games or so, win that sad sack division. But this is a team that has been kind of battle tested the last couple of years. When they get there, they've at least been in those kind of wars. So, I like Mike Vrabel as a coach. I think he's going to have his guys ready to fight, but they just don't seem as good a team as they were the last couple of years.
Yeah, basically, because King Henry is overrated. Let's just be flat out honest.
Oh,
And
stop it.
And like
he has the most yards in the league.
It doesn't matter. Okay, but with that being said, you can tell me that they beat the Jaguars and they beat the Colts, 2 pretty bad teams right now, but they lost to the Jets, an even worse team. So let's just go ahead and throw that out there. But looking at their schedule moving forward, they do play the Bills, Chiefs, at Indy, at LA versus the Rams, and then the Saints. I mean, I could see 5 losses in a row for the Tennessee Titans real quick here. So I'm glad you don't have them in the top 10, because when they lose to the the Bills, Chiefs, and Colts in the next 3 weeks, you don't want them dropping 50.
Well, they are in the top 10, right? They're at number 10.
They are at
okay,
10,
true.
but that might be short-lived. That is a tough upcoming schedule. Colts, they might be able to win that game. They have a
Colts
tough
are
time
better than they think.
finishing games lately, but we'll have to see. It was honestly a toss-up, guys, and them leading their division was a big kind of factor in that.
Which I
You
like
want a
that.
hot take, Graham?
Oh, go ahead.
The Indianapolis Colts win that division.
Wow. Well,
I
they're
agree with
trailing by only 2 games.
Mhm.
Wentz looked great on Monday, honestly, and
Yep.
and I've been all over this. Like he's terrible. He was no good in Philadelphia, but he seems like he's getting his mojo back with Frank Reich and Pascal and some of these other receivers they got there. Jonathan
And he's
Taylor
healthy
just
again.
took off on that halfback screen. Yeah, he's healthy again. But man, that was a monumental collapse, and that's a tough one to come back from. However, this team was 1-5 a couple of years ago, and they ended up making a playoff game and winning one, I believe, in Andrew Luck's final season.
we're
So
very
don't
good,
write
very
them
good,
off.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not writing them off by any case, but they're in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, so just for hindsight, you do have the Colts sitting at number 26. So just want to throw that out there. So that so that does
Sorry, Colts fans.
So that does break us into the top 10 here. Coming in at number 9, but moving down in the rankings is the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that was my favorite game to watch on Sunday afternoon, the late game with them and the Chargers. It was just a back and forth shootout. Unfortunately, they didn't make enough plays to win, and they kind of allowed this game to kind of slip away. Both of their losses, you can say that they could have won these games, both against AFC West teams, I should say, opponents, Chiefs and Chargers. Surprising that they allowed that many points, almost 50 points. But the Chargers are looking like a top team right now. I'm not real worried about the Browns. I think they'll be fine. But it is a bit concerning to see a team put up that many yards and points against them. So I had to drop them a little bit.
Yeah, I'm okay with the Browns at 9. I do still think they're a top 10 team, but I also think they've got a lot to prove. They've got the Cardinals this week. That would be a huge win if they could hand the Cardinals their first loss. I don't think they will. But it would be a huge win for them, and they could probably vault them into the top 5 if they end up doing that. But they've got a relatively easy schedule. They've had a relatively easy schedule. They beat the Texans. They beat the Bears when they were trying to figure out what they were going to do at quarterback. They beat the Vikings 14-7 in Minnesota. And so, they've kind of taken advantage of a weak schedule. Their 2 tough opponents were the Chiefs and the Chargers, and that's their 2 losses.
Yeah, they've definitely got to prove themselves by beating a better team, preferably in the AFC, or like you said, next week against the Cardinals, that's a prime opportunity. If they lose that one, then you're looking at 3-3, and then 3 losses against the good teams. So that's not a great look. Obviously, Cleveland's not known for sustained success over the course of more than one season. But it's true. So I'm kind of waiting for that other shoe to fall, so to speak. Maybe I shouldn't be like that, but that's kind of the way things have gone in Brownstown for
do you trust
over
Baker
2
Mayfield
decades. I like Baker Mayfield. I really
do too, but do you trust him?
I trust him, but I think he's one of those guys similar to kind of like Jameis. He needs a good running game, which they have. Nick
Yeah.
Chubb and Kareem Hunt, probably the best RB duo in the league. But I still think he could be prone to making a dumb interception in the end zone at the end of a
Yeah.
game. I like his competitive spirit. I like his personality. His size isn't great, but you can win with a small quarterback these days. So I think he's good enough to win big with, but he needs a total team effort, I would say.
So in a hashtag waffle way, you don't trust Baker.
I mean, I don't trust him the same as I would Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. I think he's in that kind of next tier. I guess he hasn't proved it yet. So if I have to say a definitive thing, I sort of trust him, but he, like, when it gets to the big moment, I don't know.
Okay, and hashtag waffle merch is on the website, so you can go ahead and get your waffle merch.
Waffle Wallace. Is that going to be a new one?
There we go.
Okay.
We can definitely put your Twitter handle on there, right underneath there. So coming in at number 8, you have a top team, a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, but they're coming in at number 8, the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was watching the show earlier, and I know Buck, you're all over the Cowboys. I really like the Cowboys. I think having them at 8, they've been kind of inching up my rankings week by week. I really like what I've seen out of Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, the rookie linebacker, and the offense has been phenomenal. There's a lot to like here, but kind of tapping into what you guys were saying, I don't trust them as much as some other teams in the NFC when it comes down to it, because they just haven't been there. And it's been going back to the late 90s when the Cowboys have been into a championship game, and I know history doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what's going to happen in the future, but I'm not sure about Prescott when it comes to the playoffs. The last time I can remember him being in a really big game, it was his first season when they were up against the Packers. They ended up losing that game. It wasn't his fault necessarily, but I think I trust the Bucks a bit more. I think I trust the Rams a bit more, and probably the Packers too.
Yeah,
I really like.
Stop sleeping on the Cardinals.
Yeah, I know. That we're gonna get to them. I really like the Cardinals, but well, we'll get there. And I like the Cowboys too. They kind of got to prove it a bit more.
Yeah, like I didn't think about the whole trust aspect, meaning because like the Cowboys, their last Super Bowl was 95, right? Or is it 96? But so it's been
Cowboys fans will tell you it's 95.
Yeah,
95,
so it's been 15 plus years, and the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, Dak Prescott was like 6 years old, right? Or is something ridiculous. So
Graham wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. So I I definitely understand like the trust aspect, and you have to learn how to win. Just like the Chiefs had to lose that AFC Championship game to win the Super Bowl like the next year, right? They had to learn how to lose before they can win. So sure. I definitely understand that. But speaking of learning how to win, the Rams, you have them coming in at number 7, moving up in your power rankings.
Yeah, it was kind of a good bounce back performance. Not an outstanding one, but Thursday Night Football, they were able to take out the Seahawks. A bit of a weird game, 26-17. So it's a good bounce back game for them. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen that real explosive Rams team like we saw the first 3 games of the season. Last 2 games, only averaging 23 points a game. But I really like what I've seen from the defense. They lost Brandon Staley as the defensive coordinator. I don't really think it matters that much. They still have the players to go out and make the plays. Stafford also hasn't been as sharp as he was the first 3 games. A couple more interceptions here lately. He's a quarterback who also I think needs to prove himself in the playoffs. He's only been in, I think, 2 or 3 playoff games, all losses, all with the Detroit Lions. I know it's not easy to win a playoff game with that team, but I think he does still have a bit to prove as far as winning the big games with his arm, but I still think they're a Super Bowl contender until they're not.
Yeah, and I think that you got I like that stat because when you first said Rams at 7, I was like, yeah, and then you're like 23 points the last 2 weeks. They've kind of taken a dive. They have, but it's been against division opponents, and those divisional games you can't really count on. Trouncing your opponent or scoring a ton of points. These next 3 weeks, I think you're going to see the explosive offense again. They get the Giants, the Lions, and the Texans. So I think that an
Yep.
explosive offense is going to come back. I think they're going to put up 40 points a game again, and you're going to see it, and that defense is going to shine. Where I want to see them is right after that, because they get the Titans, the Niners, and the Packers in 3 straight weeks. So that's where I really want to see them get to. I think they're easily going to win the next 3 weeks, but then those 3 following weeks, I want to see if they ride that momentum and really carry it and put it on some decent defenses.
Yeah, so jumping in the chat here real quick, Cade comes in and says the yards that the Rams are giving up is very misleading. When you're up by 21 in the fourth, they just play soft zone to kill the clock. So kind of take that into perspective.
Yeah, but
as
they
well.
haven't been up by that in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games.
The last 2 games,
they lost big to the Cardinals, and then they had to battle it out with Geno Smith in the fourth quarter and hold down Geno Smith in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So that doesn't apply for the last couple
and he
games.
moved the ball
good,
well on
good
them
point.
too, by the way. Geno Smith moved that ball pretty damn well on that Rams defense.
Decent, actually.
Yeah.
I think
decent?
I don't know about
it.
that. I mean, like decent backup quarterback, decent, like maybe win a game or two, decent.
Top 42, maybe.
So I saw this thing on Twitter. He's the last rookie quarterback to beat Tom Brady. Did you guys see that?
I did see that. That's crazy stat, isn't it?
It blew my mind. Yeah, because he was not very good with the Jets. I mean, they're the Jets. I get it. Zach Wilson's going through it right now. But anyways, that was a funny stat.
So just to retract what I said, Cade said he was talking about the Cowboys, not the Rams. So
okay.
So that's
I like the Cowboys defense, and this Trayvon Diggs guy, he could have over 10 interceptions. No one's done that since Everson Walls in 1981. So this could be a real defensive breakthrough, and it'd be cool to see a cornerback win, or a secondary player.
Now?
I believe he's at 5.
He's at 6. So
he's at 6. So
6 in 5 games. Yep.
That's incredible. He's a really physical player, and it would be really cool to see a secondary player possibly win Defensive Player of the Year. That doesn't happen that often.
You guys want a real hot take? He will not get another interception for the rest of the year.
Whoa. I think I'd probably
not
take
throw
him
his
getting
way?
at least
Exactly.
one.
You guys remember Revis Island a couple years ago, like 10 years ago? That's exactly what's going to happen. So
Revis does too. Just ask him.
Yeah. Coming in at number 6, you have this team moving up in your power rankings, the Green Bay Packers.
Well, they won. They won the game.
My God.
I know I'm going to get it here, but it's probably not as bad as it could get. This team's won a lot of close games lately, which there's 2 ways of looking at it. Well, they're not blasting teams. They're not beating the doors off the Bengals, for gosh sakes. This was a road game. Let's not forget that. But the other side of that coin is that they're able to pull out the close games. Rodgers looks pretty sharp. The defense is starting to look a bit more like it could be a factor as the season wears on. Combs, you don't like this at all. Where do you think I should have them?
How does their defense look like they're able to? They look like they've looked for the last 2 years. They can't stop the run to save their lives.
They added Jalen Smith.
They can't stop the run to save their lives. Look. I'll give you Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is always going to look good because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
all right, he's a top 3 quarterback of all time. So he's Aaron Rodgers. So I expect him to look good, and he's going to look good. As a team, I mean, great. You beat the Lions. You blew a 17-point lead to the Niners. You beat an abysmal Steelers team, and then it took you 9 missed field goals before you finally made one to go ahead and beat the Bengals, who you probably should have beat the brakes off of. And now you're going to go into Chicago against a team that is 3-2, and they're looking for their identity, and they're running the ball a lot better, which is your one weakness on defense. I'm not going to pick the Bears this weekend, probably.
Right.
But I think the Bears actually have a legitimate shot at pulling off the upset. I think 6 for the Packers, I think, is very, very high. I probably would flip-flop them with the Cowboys.
Okay, 6 and 8. That's not too bad. Rodgers does tend to come up with some big time performances against the Bears, so look out for that. But Chicago's playing some good ball right now. They could definitely be competitive in that game. I do think there's something to be said for winning these close games. It really galvanizes the team, and that's exactly what this next team on my list did. They pulled out a game they had no business winning. I considered dropping them even though they won the game. But at the end of the night, I was just like, they shouldn't have won that game. and they did. So I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens. What a weird game that was Monday night. They just couldn't get anything going offensively. Lamar Jackson looked sluggish. He had that weird fumble on the goal line. Did he fumble? Did he not fumble? It looked like a defensive touchdown. It turns out Darius Leonard went down on the lateral, which was a great idea. He just had his knee down. And then they come screaming back. They have the long touchdown bomb. They're able to get some stops on defense. That Blankenship couldn't make a kick to save his life either. Even to win the game, they had 2 chances to win this game at least. They had about 10 chances to win it.
I went to bed in the fourth quarter. I thought it was over.
Oh
It was
my
25-7. I went to bed.
I'm so glad I stayed up to watch this. And Lamar Jackson, that might have been the game of his life, even though he played so poorly early on, over 400 yards passing. He's really showing his skills as a thrower, not just as a runner, although he's very dangerous that way as well. The defense looked really shaky, but it came up with some plays late. I don't know. I kind of like this Ravens team to kind of keep rolling.
Yeah.
Only time
We'll
will
see.
tell, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like the Ravens at all. And Lamar Jackson
You don't like Lamar Jackson.
will always be trash. Coming in at number 4, unchanged from last week, is you do have the Chargers.
Yeah.
Very, very good team. I think the best team in the AFC, but you have them coming in at number 4.
Yeah, you could certainly make that case. I'm going to make mine against that a little bit later, but I really liked Justin Herbert. He's looking like a top tier quarterback right now. Like he's in that same group with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and those guys. That's how sharp he's been. And the defense has looked, they gave up 42 points, so it's hard to say they've been really impressive or anything, but they have shown a good pass rush. Derwin James is back and healthy, which could be a big factor for them. I really like the confidence Brendan Staley has shown in his guys. They've gone for a lot of 4th down gambles. I really like the identity of this team, so much more than what they had going the last couple of years with Anthony Lynn. They were kind of knocking on the door, but they couldn't quite figure things out.
Combs. Oh, that's mine. Oh, sorry. So I don't have any faith in the Chargers whatsoever. Yes, I do think they are going to win the AFC West. I do think they are the best team in the AFC. However, I have to revert back to what you said about the Cowboys and the Browns. It's kind of like, when is the other shoe going to fall? When are they going to start to stumble? And I think that's the first round of the playoffs. Yes, they might get the bye, but that's going to hurt them more because they don't have any of that playoff experience. Herbert doesn't have that playoff experience, and then you're going to face a team probably like Kansas City that has been there and done that time after time after time. And I am predicting the Kansas City Chiefs to whoop that Charger ass in the playoffs in the second round.
They got their work cut out for them to get there. Certainly, there's a lot of football to be played. This is where it's going to take a bit of a turn, and I've already taken my lumps for this. Combs might not be happy with me here, but that's okay. I had Cardinals at 3 last week. I had them at 3 last week, and I kept them exactly at 3 because they had a very stick in the mud kind of game against the 49ers, 17-10. They easily could have lost this game if the 49ers couldn't stay out of their own way. If I don't think I said that properly, you know what I mean? So many penalties by the 49ers. It's cool to see them win a more defensive battle. I like their defense. I really like this team, but I can't move Tampa Bay down after they put up 45 points. You could say on the Dolphins. So what? That was a very impressive win. And the Buffalo Bills hammered the Kansas City Chiefs, 172 points, the most points in the NFL.
The Kansas City Chiefs have a losing record.
That was still a big game. You can't say it wasn't a big game. It was still an AFC Championship rematch, and the Chiefs, they just took them and whooped them. And
I
was impressed by that. I'm not.
You are such a.
They have the most points in the NFL.
Way there is the Arizona Cardinals. Everybody, the first 3 weeks, the Arizona Cardinals are putting up crazy amounts of points. They're blowing teams out of the water, and everybody's like, oh, well, look at who they're playing. They had to come back. They got into a shootout with the Minnesota Vikings, and they beat the Jaguars, and they destroyed the Titans. But then they get into these divisional games in the best division in football. They get into these divisional games. They go to Los Angeles. They knock on the door, kiss their moms on the mouth, and whoop their butts in their own house. And then they get into a battle with another team who's very, very good defensively, and they win that game 17-10. and you still don't believe in them.
without
I
their
do
starting
believe in
Like,
them.
quarterback.
oh, I don't. How do you? There is no
Yeah,
way
Trey
you can
Lance
have a
played
team that
game.
has not lost yet, has beaten every opponent in front of them, and you have them behind two teams with losses.
I do, because I think the Bills and Bucks are better teams.
Yeah, so
I think
that's
if
who
they
we-
played today, the Bills and Bucks would beat them both. Well, that would be
think you're
weird. It
wrong.
would be like 3 games. We'll see. We'll see this
We
week
won't
a
because
little bit.
the Bucks aren't going. They're not going to play the Bucks this year. Do they play the Bills?
Well, we might
this
not
year?
have to.
No,
we
they
might
don't.
not be able to see until later. But I think there's going to be some cracks in the foundation eventually.
Yeah, they
here.
got the
Yeah.
Browns and Texans the next 2 weeks, and then they get the Packers and 49ers, and that's where I'm
Well-
interested to see how the Cardinals perform. I think they win these next 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
think they play Green Bay in Arizona. I think they're 7-0 heading into that game.
It'll get to a point, guys,
Let's-
where I'll have to have them at 1, but it's going to be really hard to drop the Bills just because they're playing so well right now.
It's going to be hard to drop the Bills because they're your favorite team. Don't
Nope.
lie.
Have you watched those games? Have you guys watched those
I
games?
have, I
they were
have, but
all
I'm not
over
impressed by Kansas City. Kansas City hasn't played good defense all year long.
Have you
all.
been impressed by Buffalo though?
I've been impressed with some of Buffalo. Yes, I haven't been impressed with as much of Buffalo as I have been with the Arizona Cardinals. Not at all, because the Buffalo Bills lost to the Steelers in opening week, but then they beat the Dolphins, the Washington, and Houston, and then
And
they
yeah,
beat the Chiefs, who are
they
playing
shut out 2
horrible
of those
football
games.
right now.
So those 4 wins, they gave up a total of 41 points, barely over 10 points a
They're-
game. They're averaging.
They were playing Washington, Miami.
a Washington
Like,
team is
wait,
going
they
13-4.
weren't playing anybody.
You got to win the games that you're up against.
All right, but-
You could call me a homer
yeah, okay.
if you want
Arizona's
to.
won all of them that they've been up against. What do you mean?
Yeah,
They
and they're
didn't- they
number
haven't
3
lost.
in my rankings. I don't think that's
Yeah.
disrespectful at all. I think they're a very good team, but this is a team that missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
You know,
and they're
like,
going to miss the
there's no
playoffs again this
telling-
year too.
Yeah, it very well.
Stop
I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. But they were what 7-3 last year.
Yeah, and the
what happened
wheels
the rest
fell
of that
off.
season? 2-5. So they
And
choked
Buffalo's
at the end of that
got
season.
the Titans, Jaguars, Jets for the next or Titans, Dolphins, Jaguars, Jets for the next 4 weeks. So you're going to have them at number 1 for at least the next 4 weeks. They're going to put up 8,000 points in the next 4 weeks because they're playing the bottom of the barrel.
Well, I mean,
in
they have the
NFL.
most points in the NFL, so they probably
in
will.
in those 4 weeks, the Cardinals will win. They'll beat the Green Bay Packers. They'll be 4-0 in those 4 weeks, so you'll still have the Cardinals at 3.
They might lose to Cleveland this weekend. Who knows?
They're not going to lose to Cleveland.
Well,
Is
just
it
to
in Arizona?
It's in Cleveland.
it's in Cleveland. Yep,
Oh,
405 kickoff,
good
I think, too.
opportunity for them. I'm just saying.
So just to round out the top 10 here, is you do have the Bills at number 1 and Bucks at number 2, unchanged from last week.
Yeah.
And I think you gave a definite good fight for the Bills to be number 1, and there's no reason to drop the Bucks at number 2 because 5 touchdowns and like 400 yards passing for Tom
5-0 is all I gotta say. It's the only. It's the only argument I need, Sean.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's going to be it for Bus
Fair enough.
Wallace power rankings here. We'll put out the complete list on our Twitter page tomorrow afternoon. So, Bus, tell people where they can find your blog section and who you're writing for.
Yeah, so Bus Wallace on Twitter actually just came out with something today about the ALCS. I'm not real happy with that matchup. It's got some people a little bit in their feelings on Twitter, but that's okay. So
You mean
can
Boston
find my
fans aren't happy?
and Houston ones too, but that's fine.
Cheaters.
So bellyupsports.com in the MLB section, you'll find that. Also check me out on jaysjournal.com. Things are slowing down a little bit as far as the off season is concerned, but things are going to get ramped up once some moves start getting made or rumors and things like that. So
Hey
look
Graham,
for me
before you
there.
go,
Yeah.
have you seen any? So I was very skeptical of the NHL on TNT. I don't like TNT's broadcast when it comes to basketball. I
Okay.
wasn't sure how they would do when it came to hockey.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to catch any of the games on TNT yet?
TNT, I don't know. The games last night I thought were ESPN, were they not?
They
They
were.
were
They were.
ESPN,
They're
yeah.
on TNT tonight, though. NHL on TNT is tonight. I believe
Man,
they're going to have Wednesday games like they do for basketball.
TNT's
Okay.
trash.
I've been watching Washington and the Rangers. I haven't heard
Okay.
much because I'm on the show, but
Yeah.
I'm watching it, and like they have like how they have it on the court for the shot clock. They've got that for the power play on the ice. They've got it just built in like where they
Oh.
the camera thing on the ice so you can watch the power play time on the ice.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Okay.
They also had Wayne Gretzky in there doing some commentary, which would be
That's
pretty
cool.
to
It's a
listen
great
to.
one.
So maybe they're doing
Yeah.
a good job with hockey. I haven't really gotten a chance to listen to it. I'm going to listen after we get off the show because my Blackhawks are playing Colorado on TNT.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be into that. But
I
I was just wondering if you had a chance to look at it.
No, I got the Leafs game in the background here, but it's Sportsnet in Canada, so it's I'm not the right guy. I don't know if I'll even get the TNT broadcast, but I'm glad to see Americans get excited for hockey. Just don't bring
I
that stupid
love
laser
hockey.
back, please.
Yeah, the laser puck. Oh my God, it was horrible.
That was the worst. Yeah.
All right, guys. So, Soup Boss says stop sleeping on the Cardinals, stop disrespecting them, and they had the NSL Ghost Wayne Desking do some stuff, Combs.
Thank you, Soup.
Doing some stuff. All right, so guys, we are up against a break time. Buzz Wallace on Twitter, as always. Thank you for joining us. He joins us every Wednesday at 8:30 East Coast time with his NFL Power Rankings. So we'll be right back, guys, here on the Man Hour.
Yeah.
Soup awesome.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckcastle and Brandon Combs tonight. If you guys have not done so already, enter the merch giveaway. Give a hashtag Beastie in the comments with a space with the number of raffles that you'd like to give. Of course, you have to have some loyalty points to get those points. So give exclamation point points, and you'll tell you exactly how many points you have. But hashtag Beastie space, the number of raffles that you want to give, gives you a chance to win some free Beastie Claw merch. We'll be giving that away here in the next 10 minutes. So let's welcome Beastie back on the show here, guys. And this part of the Man Hour is brought by Skull Candy Headphones. Link is in the description. You get 20% discount instantly when you click on the link in the description below. But it is time for Would You Rather. Combs, tell the people what Would You Rather is all about.
The people know what Would You Rather is all about. It's self-explanatory. Would you rather this or would you rather that? That's what we're going to do. Buck, are you ready?
I'm always ready, man.
All right, Buck. Did you see the sprained ankle on Saquon Barkley this week?
That was probably the second worst sprained ankle I've ever seen in my life.
It was so gross. And it led me to this question because the week prior, my daughter Aubrey, she was in the basketball game, coaching the game, and, you know, she caught a pass, and it bent her thumb backwards, and she ended up, you know, spraining a ligament in her thumb. Really painful. Would you rather sprain your ankle or sprain your thumb?
Ooh, give me my thumb 100% of the time, because a thumb you can wrap up and not like let it move and whatnot. I've never personally have had a sprained ankle, but the people that I've talked to said they would rather have a broken ankle than a sprained ankle, just because you can at least put a cast on a broken ankle, and a sprained ankle, it just hurts. I mean, a sprained thumb hurts, obviously, and me being a football player, I sprain my fingers all the time. I've broken them and just pop them back in place and they tape them up. So as a football player, a sprained ankle sucks because you're planting and doing and like all that like other stuff. Now, as a basketball player, man, a sprained thumb, especially on your shooting hand, like we've seen people like Kobe Bryant miss games because of a sprained thumb or a sprained finger, right? So obviously it's pretty painful, but I'd rather take a sprained thumb than a sprained ankle any day of the week.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm gonna go give me the sprained ankle, because you know what? I can stay off my ankle. I can elevate. I can still do. I could get crutches. I can keep the weight off of the sprained ankle. Do you realize how much stuff you use your thumbs for?
Oh, I do.
I mean, try grabbing your phone and texting. Try doing all scrolling through social media, as we do so often for the show. Try tying your shoes, Buck. Try doing that without your thumbs, and tell me how easy it is. I would absolutely 100% much rather sprain my ankle, because I feel like you use your thumbs so much more than you even realize.
Yeah. So fun fact about me, I have not tied my shoes since my sophomore year of high school. So fun fact.
All right.
Moving on.
So moving on.
wait.
So,
Soup Boss says try wiping your butt without using your thumbs. That's where a bidet comes in 100%. Just sprinkle it up in there. Yeah.
But see, I feel like Buck is like the one piece of toilet paper guy, where he just rips a hole in the middle, wipes with his fingers, and then uses the toilet paper to clean off his finger. That's how I feel. Buck
there's a different way to wipe your butt.
Buck's like, you wipe your butt?
Wait.
Anyway.
Is that why it itches all the time?
So I'm listening to White Sox fans go nuts today about Tony La Russa coming back and wanting to come back, and nobody wants him back, and everybody thinks he did a horrible job. I don't disagree. But let's say he doesn't come back. There's that position that is open, and there's a San Diego Padres position that is open. So, Buck, would you rather manage the Chicago White Sox moving forward, a very good, young, talented team that has decent pitching and has a good bullpen, or would you rather coach the San Diego Padres, another very good, young, talented team?
So when I think of these two teams, I think of like, because I'm a high school coach, right? I coached at the rich high school, and now I'm coaching at kind of the quote not so rich high school, right? The not so rich high school works a hell of a lot harder than the rich high school. Why? Because everything's given to those kids at the rich high school, right? So I want to coach the Chicago White Sox just because those guys on that team are reaching for that big dollar contract, right? What the Padres have like a $700 million salary cap next year, absolutely ridiculous. And so you don't have players that are going to play through sprained thumbs or sprained ankles, right? But the White Sox are going to have those guys because they want that next big contract. Also, I think the White Sox have the most upside. So if I had managerial experience, I would want to go to a team that has the most upside, because we've seen the Padres fall flat on their face. I mean, they just like I said, they have a $700 million salary cap. Like, I know I'm exaggerating that a little bit. I think it's like 600, right, Combs? But either way, they have a lot of money out there, and they fail to make the playoffs. The White Sox at least made the playoffs. They're young and they're cheap. Give me the White Sox any day of the week, Combs.
Yeah, I mean, look, people know me. They know I'm a diehard Cubs fan. I love my Cubs. They're expecting me to go Padres here, but I'm not. Look, one of my favorite players to watch right now is the young, talented players over in Chicago. And I absolutely love watching Tim Anderson play baseball. And that team right there is just a grindy, young team, and they've got the bullpen right now to back it up. They've got some starting pitching. They do need to go out this offseason and get some front of the rotation type starting pitching, and they'll be all right. But I really like the White Sox a lot more than I like the Padres moving forward, because they are a young, scrappy team. They don't have the $400 million player. They don't have, the Manny Machados. They don't have the Fernando Tatis Jr.
Eric Hosmer just had a big deal too.
Eric Hosmer, yeah. So I like the White Sox.
Sure.
I love watching those guys play baseball. I was enjoying watching them play baseball. I actually thought that they could have mounted a comeback and beat the Houston Astros. Unfortunately, they just got their tails whooped yesterday. But I really think that, though, the White Sox would be the job. I think if the White Sox job became available, that would be the first job to fill, because that would be the job everybody wanted, and they would wait until it filled before they went elsewhere.
Yeah, and the Padres have the ugliest uniforms I've ever seen in my life. Those yellow and brown things are god-awful ugly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
my bad.
moving on, we just talked to Graham backstage. I was talking to him about hockey and the TNT broadcast and how I wasn't too excited about it. But another sports organization that I don't really care to watch a lot of their stuff because I don't like how they handle some of their stuff is ESPN. So I ask you this, Buck: if Man Hour was ever to just get noticed by everybody, which they should be because we are the best damn sports radio show on the damn planet. But if everybody came calling at once, would you rather work for ESPN or would you rather work for TNT?
Oh, give me TNT any day of the week. You know why, Combs? Because I hate being censored. I hate saying what I can and cannot say. And when Charles Barkley and Shaq get drunk on that NBA show that they do, they start speaking and they're fighting at each other, and it makes for good TV, right? I mean, and like I don't think that shit's planned like at all. And once ESPN would say, "Oh, Buck, you can't say big lips, you can't say big booty hoes," I mean, get that crap out of here. I mean, honestly, I would rather be independent. I got being able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. But give me TNT, just because ESPN guys is going down. Let's just be honest, but they fired like 5,000 people. They're basically only hiring hot girls now because they're trying to bring viewership back. We need some more Stuart Scotts. We need some more Dan Patricks, right? But TNT, if TNT were to do a Sports Center type show and they had like Charles Barkley and Shaq on it, fuck yeah, man. Give me TNT every day of the week, Holmes.
Yeah, I'm going TNT too, man. I just can't do it with ESPN anymore. There's a lot of nonsense, a lot of political nonsense going on with ESPN. It's horrible. It's awful to watch, and they just keep running with it. So I'm going to go TNT as well.
Suit Boss says he likes hot girls, and I said, gross, who likes hot girls?
No, I'm with him. I like hot girls, especially hot girls who know sports. That's even better. But I digress. I'm still going TNT over ESPN.
And you're still getting married here in a couple weeks, so better.
Hey, she knows sports.
Pump the brakes.
And it's not a couple weeks, couple years.
Oh, a couple years. Man, you better hurry up and put a ring on that thing. She's gonna leave you.
Oh, she's got a ring.
You need to put a real ring on that thing, Combs. And stop beating around the bush. Make this girl an honest woman. Are you ready for break?
I don't know if she's listening right now, so let's go to break.
Let's go to break. Rachel Nichols equals hot as fuck. Rachel Nichols was hot until she started doing cocaine. Now she's kind of like blah.
Yeah, and she's no longer on ESPN.
Yeah. I mean,
because she's white. I said it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhouse along with Brandon Combs. You can find us on Twitter at manhour_buck and manhour_combs. On the Twitter machine, like I said, if you missed any part of the whatsoever, you can subscribe to us at youtube.com/manhour. We upload clips 3 hours, every 3 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can also find us on podcast form on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and of course, Apple Music. Or you can find us on Belly Up Sports, 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. Over there on their Facebook page, Unhinged Radio at 10 a.m. on their internet radio. And, of course, Big X 96.1 every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. So, Soup Boss got put in timeout by Streamlabs there, Combs, because he said he basically wants to slip some girls some Ajax.
We were reading it backstage. We were laughing our butts off. It was not us that blocked that. It was definitely Streamlabs.
It was my bot. Yep.
We were cracking up.
So my bot blocked it. So yeah.
Yeah.
We're live.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But anyways, speaking of Soup Boss, man, Spilled Soup is coming up probably sometime next week. So we'll bring him back on for his weekly segment. We're juggling some things around. We're thinking Wednesdays is when we'll have him on, right?
And I think he might be on the Sunday with me.
Okay, there we go. Bada bing, bada boom.
Working on it. I hope he'll be on the Sunday with me. He can't even chime in now and let us know because he's in timeout.
Timeout, bad boys, what you gonna do? But guys, it is time to get into some planned sports talk here for the rest of the show. So we do got Major League Baseball playoffs happening. We got some game fives. We got some ALCS games. So Combs, let's go ahead and go right there right now. We have the Giants-Dodgers game 5 happening tomorrow night. Who do you got in this game and why?
Man. God. I am going to go with the San Francisco Giants. And I'm going to go with the San Francisco Giants because Max Scherzer pitched in game 3 and Walker Buehler pitched in game 4. And when it comes to a winner take all game 5, and I know he had a decent run last season in the short season, but I think it was because it was a short season. I don't trust Clayton Kershaw, and I really like what the Giants have. The Giants are at home. I hate to do this because I feel like I'm jinxing them, but I'm picking the Giants in this one. I think the Giants are going to go to the NLCS and play the Braves.
So, fun fact here: when the Dodgers score, they win these last 2 games. But the 2 games that they lost, they've been held scoreless. So, why are the Dodgers bats so hot and so cold, Combs?
I mean, they do have a lot of contact guys too, so it's not like I can even say they just they swing for the fences. They've got a lot of good contact guys. I love Justin Turner. I love Mookie Betts. I love Trey Turner, the ultimate probably contact guy. And so I don't know why they get so streaky. And to be honest with you, I think the Giants have just done a good job of shutting them down and pitching in those 2 wins that they have. I think the Giants have hung with them. That 1-0 game was an incredible game. I mean, there were so many good defensive plays in that game. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was a late game, but if you were able to stay up for it like I do, just because I can't go to bed till any game is over, I stayed up and watched all of it. I was tired as hell the next day, but the defensive gems in that game was phenomenal. I just there's something about the Giants this year. I can't bet against them.
Yeah. So one question that I have queued up on here is, does the winner of this Giants-Dodgers series win the World Series?
No.
Or how about this? Make it to the World Series?
No. Look, I picked the Braves before the playoffs started. I'm sticking with the Braves now. I like the way that they looked against Atlanta. I think they're flying high on all cylinders. This is their 2nd straight NLCS. I think they learned something from the year before. People were talking, before this happened, are the White Sox, are they, the 2015 Cubs where they're a year ahead of schedule. I think last year's Braves were the 2015 Cubs where they were a year ahead of schedule, and now I think that they are ready to go ahead and take that next step. I think the Braves go to the World Series. I think that the Dodgers and Giants are kind of, for lack of a better term, blowing their load in this series here where they're going head-to-head with a division opponent, division rival, the two best teams in the game. I feel like this is going to burn them. The Braves are going to have a little bit more rest. They're going to be able to set up their pitching staff a little bit better than the Giants are going to be able to, or the Dodgers are going to be able to because of the 5-game series. So, yeah, I just think the Braves are in a better position right now.
So there are 224 wins combined between these two teams here, the Giants and the Dodgers.
213.
Yeah, 213. Many people are saying, this should be a NLCS game, not a NLDS game in a 7-game series. Do you agree with that? Like, should there be some type of
because
reseeding in the Major League Baseball playoffs?
No, because you win your division, and it happens all the time. I mean, I can't remember. It was a couple years ago. There was a 103 win team that didn't even make the playoffs because they were in a division with two other 104 or 105 win teams. It happens. You have a good season, and then you don't get into the playoffs. I mean, it happened. It happened this year even, where you had a really good Toronto Blue Jays team that got knocked out of the playoffs because the Rays and everybody else in their division, the Red Sox and the Yankees, were all good. So, a very good Blue Jays team who ended up winning, I think it was 93 games or 92 games, got knocked out of the playoffs. They didn't even get a chance to play. So it happens. No, there shouldn't be reseeding. This all would have been a moot point if the Cardinals would have done what I predicted them to do and actually won that game instead of losing it in 1-0 or 2-1, whatever the heck it was. But no, there should not be reseeding. Sometimes you get the luck of the draw. Sometimes you luck out and you don't have those good teams in your division. And then the other times it's just a dogfight and you do what you got to do.
Yeah, and many people think that if the Cardinals Dodgers game would have even been a 3-game series, the Dodgers wouldn't even be here anyways. So, I mean, hindsight's 2020 here, just a tad bit. But you did talk about the Braves earlier, and the Braves handled the Brewers just like you predicted. You predicted a sweep, but they won the series 3-1. Are the Braves for real, or are the Brewers just not that good, Combs?
A little bit of both. No, I'm just joking. Look, the Brewers are good. I don't like the way that Christian Yelich just looked at that ball to end the game the other night. I mean, you've got to be swinging the bat in that situation. And to watch strike 3 the way he did, I didn't like it. I think the Brewers are a good team, but I think that they've got some pieces to work on. I think they're a lot like the Yankees, where they've got a decent offense, but their pitching needs a little bit of help. Their pitching was decent all year long, but it did tail off, come September and October. So, I think it's more the Braves are for real. The Braves are that team. The Braves are going to the World Series, and the Braves are going to win the World Series.
Wow, bold statement here from Beastie Combs. So speaking of Beastie merch, guys, we are giving away a raffle here tonight and the youtube.com/man hour page.
I only got to put up 1 point, by the way.
Yeah, well, you can put up to 1 million points in the Beastie raffle. So hashtag Beastie at the space and like how many raffles how many raffle entries you would like to get. However, you have to earn those raffles by chatting and being active in the chat group. That's how you get points.
It's hard for me to do while I'm on the show.
Right.
So I've only got 1 point, so
Right.
I only bet 1 point, but I'm going to win with my 1 point.
There we go. All right, so we do have a championship series already lined up in the AL. We do have the Houston Astros taking on the Boston Red Sox. Who do you got winning this series and why, Combs? And how many games?
I know we've got Soup Boss in the chat, and hopefully he's still muted because he's about to get really, really angry with me. And he's about to get really, really angry with me because I'm going to pick his Red Sox. I think the Boston Red Sox win this series in 6 games. I think the Boston Red Sox are a better team than the Houston Astros. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Boston Red Sox will have... Oh, no, they won't because they were... Well, maybe they would. Is it more wins? I don't know if they have home field advantage. First game in Houston?
I'm not for sure.
Either way.
I'd have to look.
The Houston Astros, they'll whistle. They'll do all the things they got to do to cheat while they're in Houston. They'll probably split there. But then the Red Sox will win 2 out of 3 at home, and then they'll go back and take Game 6 in Houston.
First game is at Houston.
Okay, so yeah. So I think in 6 they'll win game. They'll win games. So it's 1, 2. Then it's 3, 4, 5. So they'll win 2 out of 3 at home. They'll probably win games 3 and 5, and then they'll win the last one in Game 6 at Houston.
So you have Boston Red Sox going to the World Series in 6 games. So judging by your prediction, it'll be a Boston Atlanta Braves World Series, which is like the viewership will definitely will
The
be
Braves
up on
came
that
from
one.
Boston originally.
Yeah,
They were the Boston Braves.
that's kind of weird. So who do you have winning that World Series between the Red Sox and the Braves?
The Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves will win that series, and they'll win that series in 7 games. It'll be a tight one, but I will take the Atlanta Braves in 7. I really like Max Fried. I like Max Fried more than I like any Red Sox starter. I think that the Red Sox do a lot with their bullpen. I think the Red Sox do a lot with their lineup. They have to outscore their opponents. I think the Braves can do enough to shut that down in a 7-game series. So give me the Atlanta Braves in 7.
All right, so moving on to the NFL side of things, guys, since this is our last show of the week, we need to talk some Thursday night football here. We do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Philly. Combs, does Philly even have a shot in this game versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No. No. Tampa Bay is going to win this one. They're going to win this one easy. It's Thursday night football. I know it's a short week. I know crazy things happen on Thursday night football. We usually have horrible games on Thursday night football, but they've done some stuff to give us some decent matchups this year. And I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are just, light years ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. So give me a Tampa Bay by probably 2 to 3 scores in this one.
Yeah, they moved all the horrible games to London at 9 a.m. here on the East Coast. So that is what they did. But Philly does have a shot in this game, Combs, just because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to Philly on a short week. So, 60% or 70% of the time the home team does win Thursday night games. And Tom Brady has a hurt thumb. Tom Brady, he banged his thumb on a throw last week versus the Miami Dolphins. So he's dealing with a sprained thumb. So we don't know his status, but every game he was up in New England, he was on the injury report. So that is nothing new. But this is new that he actually does have a injury. So Philly does have a chance, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just like I talked to you earlier in the night, of like about how their secondary is kind of shaky right now. There are a few flaws in his game, and Suit Boss comes back and says, Tom Brady had a torn MCL last year. Who cares? He doesn't run. You don't need a MCL to throw the ball. You need your thumb to throw the ball there, Suit Boss. But I'm giving Philly a chance. But I'm picking the Buccaneers to win 21-17 as the final score. Tom Brady has a late drive game-winning touchdown to win the game.
They gave up 17 points to the Patriots and 17 points to the Dolphins, and you think that their secondary is having trouble?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are.
Just because you think so, or because there's something that's shown you? Well, what's shown you that they're having trouble?
Because they're hurt, and they signed freaking Richard Sherman is like 50 years old.
Okay. Okay. We'll agree to disagree there, and I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 3 scores.
Hang on here. Let me pull up the Tampa Bay schedule, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule here, just because if you want to go here, okay? They played the Falcons, right? They gave up 25 points to a pretty bad Falcons team. So this would be before Michael Pitts even found the end zone ever. So Matt Ryan and a trio of outcasts put 25 points on that secondary. Yes, they did hold the Rams to 24 points. I will give you that. But then you gave up 17 points to the Patriots. Mac Jones is not going to light you up.
You've given up less points every week, is what you're saying.
But I'm saying
25, 24, 17.
They're not playing these passing juggernaut offenses, And that's how
Neither
Philly,
are the Eagles are not a passing check.
they are going to beat you through the air. Because they know that's the only chance they have because they cannot run.
Yep.
Because
Teams are scoring less and less against them, so they gave up 24, they gave up 17,
because
17.
they're
So
trying to shorten the game to keep.
I'm
Tom
gonna
Brady
say
off the
Tampa
field.
Bay. I'm gonna say Tampa Bay 41-10, and it keeps going down.
I mean,
Just because you said that they're struggling, and I believe you about as much as I believe the Detroit Lions when you picked them preseason. So
they're dead to me, Combs. Don't bring that up ever again. Die, Lions, die. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for the show here. Combs, let me go ahead and pick a raffle winner here. So let's go ahead and close the entries, and we'll pick a winner. And we're not going to do that because I can't win. That's weird. We'll pick another winner. Soup Boss. Soup Boss is the winner for tonight. So Soup Boss, be sure to go ahead and click the link. It'll pop up like a link in there with your name, and bada bing, bada boom, you get some Beastie merch there. So Soup Boss, congratulations here, and that little graphic pop up on the screen there for you. So man, that Beastie merch is tight, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, Combs, but Combs,
I like it.
We like to end the shows on the Combs eye test, cooking with Tori, Wyatt Wines, Buck Stotts, and tonight it is the eye test with Combsy. So Combsy, give me your eye test, big guy.
Look, I'm just gonna come out and say it here. This is not going to be, if you've watched the whole John Gruden thing, and you are appalled by his actions, you're not going to like my eye test. Let me put it like this. John Gruden went out and he said some stuff. I don't agree with everything they said. I don't even care that they fired him. I don't care that he walked away. I don't care whatever the hell they decided to do. That's fine. What I don't understand is how people come out here and act like it is so appalling, so outrageous, so demanding that he can't be in the NFL. Oh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, we're taking him out of the Ring of Honor. The Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, he can't be our head coach. Oh, the players must be so angry at him. Everything he said was so offensive. Meanwhile, the NFL has announced that their Super Bowl show will be Eminem, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, who have lyrics that are 10 times as offensive, 10 times as racial, and 10 times more derogatory towards women than anything that John Gruden just got fired for. I mean, people, wake up. Stop with the offensiveness. This is why I hate ESPN now, is because, we're going and then we're going to let Stephen A. Smith talk about, he's got to go. He can't, this racist stuff. Stephen A. Smith, Shohei Ohtani. That's all I got to say, Stephen A. Smith. Shohei Ohtani. And you still have your damn job, but Rachel Nichols got fired. What's the difference between you, Rachel Nichols, and John Gruden? That's what it is. That's the Combs eye test.
All right, guys, so that's going to be it for tonight. As always, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be off tomorrow. Family obligations, always family first here on the Man Hour. So join us Sunday night, guys. Combs will be here. I will be here. And possibly Soup Boss as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Guys, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that like button. And Combs, we'll probably be giving away some more merch next week as well. So guys,
Let's do it.
Build up those loyalty points throughout the week, and every Thursday from here on out, we will be giving away some type of merch. So build up those loyalty points, because that's how you enter more raffles up to 1 million times. So Combs, send us out.
Man Hour Nation, rise up.